the Grizzlies. We're broadcasting from the FedEx Forum, bringing you another edition of the NBA on 2K Sports. This is Kevin Harlan alongside Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg with the fourth member of our team, Doris Burke. Tip-off moments away, and State Farm presents the starting lineups. And as we take a look here at Marc Gasol, guys, what do you think?
You know, it's amazing. You think about the name Gasol, you think of Powell, but Marc is the one who made the All-Star game a year ago, not Powell. So he's become an excellent player in his own right. Great passer off the high post. He's got the strength to go down to the low block and beat you up down there, and he rebounds the ball extremely well.
He just takes up a lot of space with the screens he sets and his body. I mean, the way he gets into people out and inside the key, it just takes its toll on players he's going up against.
Green with the ball. Zach Randolph covering. Parker drives in, and that one's good.
You know, Kevin, they were a step late on their defensive rotation, and that helped them get right to the rim.
You know, the Grizzlies were dominant against the West in the 2010-11 season, but as you might imagine, in a season where they lost Zach Randolph for a good portion of the year, they weren't quite the same against the Western Conference last season.
And yes, sir, that one drops.
There was no question about it. He was going to finish that one off.
Memphis on defense. Tries from 10, and that's good for 2. And of course, you lose a guy like Zach Randolph, your power forward. You have a harder time matching up with all the great post players in the West. It was a pretty big challenge.
A big-time challenge, Kevin, and yet the Grizzlies were able to come out ahead overall with the 26-22 record against the West. But certainly without Randolph, they just could not match what they had accomplished the year prior.
The Grizzlies shooting their first free throw of the game here.
You know, you look at Marc Gasol, a second-round pick in 2007. He was part of that Laker trade for his brother Powell. Everybody looked at him as a throw-in, and suddenly he's developed into an all-star center. What a great story.
And that is good. Green's got his first basket. Grizzlies have gone 2 of 3 here to start out the game. Conley, the pass to Allen. He's against Green. Outside Gasol. Kicks it to Prince. Memphis moving that ball around. 6 to shoot. Randolph kicks to Allen. Gives him the lead pass. Conley covered by Parker. Here's Randolph. Off target from three-point range. Going back to Gasol, you wonder how he lasted to the 48th pick. Skilled 7-footers. He's actually 7'1". Clark don't come down the road that often.
Well, you know what? He was overseas, so sometimes that can hide you a little bit and make some people a little gun-shy about drafting you. There was concern about his conditioning. He battled weight trouble early on, so it's not about where you get drafted. It's about how you produce when you get the opportunity, and he's shown he's a big-time player.
And a fast break now for the Spurs. Leonard, no luck.
Oh, perfect opportunity to finish the break, and he blows it.
Steve, you have to be able to finish off plays like that. It's a must.
Conley gets the bucket.
And I'll tell you what, they might want to pay a little more attention to him defensively than they did on that last trip.
A moment to check in with Doris Burke. Doris?
Kevin, I had a chance to talk with head coach Lionel Hollins. I asked him about how his team was going to handle the veterans of the Spurs, and he said, there really isn't a whole lot that Duncan and them haven't seen, so you can't surprise them one way or another. Really, it comes down to us being as careful with the ball as they are and being efficient in our possessions. Sounds simple enough, gentlemen.
Thanks, Doris. And the shot is good. Gasol's got 5 points so far. And San Antonio calls the first timeout of the game. So San Antonio going with an almost entirely new group here. Splitter is checked in for Matt Bonner. Dial comes in for Tim Duncan. Anu Ginobili's checked in for Kawhi Leonard. And Gary Neal subbed in for Daniel Green. Splitter with the ball, defended by Gasol. And it's Randolph with the rebound. 1:09 left to play in the first.
And the Southwest Division was just an extremely tough one the last couple of years. And last year, no different. I mean, the Spurs played their counterparts pretty tough, though, and they had a good showing for in-division games.
And that one's good. Parker
You know, he's not the most flashy point guard out there, and you don't hear his name when people talk about the best point guards in the game, but I think Parker is one of the best in the business when it comes right down to it. He's able to do so many things out there for you, and just had a dominant season for the Spurs a year ago.
Steve, Parker's fearlessness going to the hoop is what makes him such a devastating player in crunch time. Often you'll see him go right into a bigger guy, take the contact, and still find a way to finish the play.
No one covering.
That jump shot's like a layup for him when the defense backs off like that.
The Grizzlies have gone 4 of 7 from the field, shooting over 50%. 2-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Conley kicks to Gasol. Randolph. Diaw's there. Randolph inside. He's guarded by Diaw, and that one's good. Randolph's got his second basket of the game. And here we go with Tony Parker. Ginobili with the three. Gets it to go. Now here's Conley, and that's not going to go. And that concludes a back-and-forth high-scoring. And off we go, a close game now starting the second quarter. And before we move on, what do you guys think about what we've seen so far from the Spurs?
And it's really been a dominant effort on the glass. That's been the key here.
Yeah, they've established nice low post presence, which always tends to help you on the rebounding battle.
And a moment now to reset the lineups, courtesy of Gatorade, all fueled up for the second quarter of basketball. So on the floor for Memphis, Conley out there with Jared Bayless, and it's Marc Gasol, then it's Arthur, and it's Pondexter in at small forward. Conley's shot is off. Spurs leading by 6.
It's great to see the emergence of Mike Conley for Memphis. He's become a top-flight point guard in the NBA. He was the 4th pick in the draft back in '07, and he's really living up to those high expectations now.
Here is Bayless, stolen by Ginobili. It's 3-on-3 on the fast break. Leonard, no luck.
Got a pretty good look at the basket, but defensively they did a nice job rotating, forcing the miss.
And Neal kicks to Leonard. Powers down the dunk.
Yeah, very opportunistic defense there, leading to those points.
That's exactly what they'll do to you, Steve. They will pounce on your mistakes.
Yeah, Mike Conley just Clark steadily improving year after year.
Yeah, whether it's getting to the rim or becoming a better three-point shooter, excellent defensively, he just gets better and better. Yeah, we're now starting to see them get some high percentage shots in the paint.
Yeah, that's 5 of their last 6 buckets inside the lane, so they're getting really high percentage looks down there.
Shot's good. Neal's got his first 2 points.
3 straight buckets in the paint. They're making it look effortless.
Well, speaking of effortless, you'd like to see a little more out of the defense. So how about trying, guys?
Catching up on the changes for Memphis. Zach Randolph's checked in for Gasol. Prince comes in for Jarrell Arthur. And Tony Allen subbed in for Mike Conley. So San Antonio going with an almost entirely new group here. Matt Bonner, he's checked in for Splitter. Diaw comes in for Tim Duncan. Daniel Green, he's checked in for Manu Ginobili. And Tony Parker subbed in for Gary Neal. From the sideline, let's catch up with Doris Burke.
Hi, Kevin. Tim Duncan is known for his unflappable demeanor. He's not a trash talker. He lets his play do that for him. He said he uses silence to, quote, destroy people's psyches. He explains, the best mind game you can run on someone is just to keep going at them and at them until they break. Kevin, with the success he's had, you can't argue with the results.
Doris, the Spurs win percentage over the Duncan era, the best of any team in NBA history over a 15-year span. I'd have to agree with you. Green, no luck.
Now you can see why the defense is willing to let him take that shot. That's really not his range. You know, for such a long time, the Spurs were looked to as an annual threat to win it all, especially with Tim Duncan in his prime. But the last few years, people haven't taken San Antonio seriously, but they still win consistently, night in and night out.
Spurs leading by 8. San Antonio calls timeout. Thinking about the Spurs, a lot of it just seems to be a habit for them. Winning has certainly become a habit down in Texas.
Yeah, they have the players to compete, but by no means do they seem overpowering to any other team. Pop is a great coach, Greg Popovich, and gets the most out of them, and that's a big part of it, Kevin.
Marc Gasol's checked in for Memphis. Conley now comes in for Jared Bayless. So San Antonio going with an almost entirely new group here. Splitters checked in for Matt Bonner. Duncan comes in for Boris Diaw. Manu Ginobili, he's checked in for Kawhi Leonard. And Gary Neal subbed in for Daniel Green. Here's Conley after the made shot from Manu Ginobili. Conley dishes to Gasol. Randolph. Outside Conley. Just 5 to shoot. Good on the triple. Conley's got 6 points.
And for Grizzlies coach Lionel Hollins, a wealth of NBA coaching experience. 10 years as a player, over 2 decades in coaching. And all of his head coaching experience has come with the Grizzlies.
A 15-footer, and Duncan gets it to go on the assist by Ginobili. Duncan's got 4 this quarter.
Smart, he's just using his size advantage to get his shot off.
And a sweet stroke, too, you might add.
Here's Conley. That's good. And for Lionel Hollins, this is his 4th full season as a head coach.
Yeah, he stepped in on an interim basis in 3 separate seasons with the Grizzlies. That's really remarkable, even going way back to their days in Vancouver. So, Hollins has built up a lot of equity with his organization. He's impressed them with his stability and his focus and just how measured he is in his approach as a coach. I think one of the underrated coaches in this league.
Gets the bucket. Conley's got 10 points in the game.
He was really a non-factor in that first quarter, but he's found a way to step it up here.
It's Parker with the drive. No luck. And the Grizzlies going the other way now. Conley with it. Guarded now by Duncan. Allen kicks to Conley. The tray. And again, it's Memphis with the 3. And here is Parker. He has 6. And that one's good. 8 points for him.
He is always so in control, guys, even when he's going hard to the hoop. Very skilled finisher.
He got it up. It went right down as the buzzer sounded.
Well, I tell you what, I don't know how he has the poise to make that shot look so easy.
Yep, and that's the most exciting play.
And a tight game here as we end the first half. Spurs lead by 4. And coming up after... We have a close ball game on our hands as we get set for the second half of basketball.
Some good play from Conley in this one. He's got 13 points, and he's nailed 3 from long range. That's 9 points from deep.
Well, I like that he's not hesitating to pull the trigger. I mean, if he's got room, he's going to take the shot. He's putting some fear in this defense.
So with Ginobili sitting on the bench, here's how the floor looks for Greg Popovich. Green and Leonard out on the perimeter. Matt Bonner is out there with Duncan, and it's Parker in at the 1 spot.
I thought it was a good season for Memphis once again, building off of their 2011 campaign when they finished as the 8th seed. Still a lot of work to do if they want to win that division.
And let's catch up with our sideline reporter, Doris Burke. Doris, over to you.
Kevin, the unselfish culture of the San Antonio Spurs is much admired, but not often replicated around the league. Coach Popovich explained what he thinks has been a big part of it, saying, quote, "I'm very fortunate in that I didn't have to deal with a star's ego. I dealt with grown-ups who had character and values, that sort of thing. Timmy came along, David Robinson understood his talent and made it very easy for Tim to become the go-to guy. As Tim got older, he understood the value of Manu and Tony and was able to share that spotlight with them. I never had a talk, I never had a discussion, a meeting, or anything with any of those guys about that. We just did it. And it's because of their character that we were able to do it." Kevin, tremendous guys, all 3.
Once again, that unselfishness and lack of ego, Doris, so impressive. Going back to the Grizzlies in the Southwest, so many tough teams, and Memphis usually breaks even, but they have yet to challenge for the crown in that division. Pretty good indication, Steve, of how good it actually is, how deep it is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're dealing with Dallas and San Antonio every year, 2 of the marquee franchises in the league. New Orleans is getting better now. Houston is competitive year after year. So, to me, that is the best division in the NBA.
And again, Memphis no good.
And that rebound pushes their margin to +5 on the boards. Solid job on the glass.
Well, it's just part of what they've done here to build this big lead, and it shouldn't be overlooked. I mean, rebounding is a huge part of this game. Everything's going right now. 4 for 5 shooting, 80%. They got their offense clicking.
Well, you know, Tony Parker, ever since he entered the league as a young 19-year-old, has been one of the real speed merchants. I mean, and now in his 30s, you wonder how much longer he'll have those wheels, but so far, no slowing him down to this point.
Allen outside. Can they get it? And that one falls, coming off Conley's feet. Conley's got his 4th assist with that last one here tonight. Time called here. The Spurs decide to talk it over. And penetration, really the foundation of Tony Parker's offensive game. A lot of blow-bys in there, Steve. He has a great knack for finding room and making it work once he gets in the lane.
Yeah, unbelievably fast, and he's got that floating leaner that's so difficult to block in the paint. So to me, that's the key to his offensive game. He can get past you, then he can score in a variety of ways in the paint.
Allen passes to Conley. Back to Allen. A 3-ball. That's in there. Conley with the assist. Conley's got his 5th assist in this one. Spurs leading by 10. They get a hand on it. And now here comes Conley leading the break. Makes the lead pass. Prince kicks to Allen. Some nice passing there by Memphis. And a fast break now for the Spurs. Parker leading the charge. And the basket by Ginobili.
Now, the offensive efficiency has been really important. I think that's been the difference.
Well, you know, I think it's pretty simplistic, but it does oftentimes come down to this, making shots. And that's what they've done.
Conley dishes to Randolph. Prince, his first shot coming late. It's rebounded by Boris Diaw.
A humongous lead for them here. I mean, they've really done a good job of controlling the flow of the game.
Yeah, and I think it's the rebounding they have to thank for that, Clark, because it's really set the tone in this contest. Well, with Zach Randolph going down last year and missing a significant amount of time, you knew that the Grizzlies would have to have some other players step up, and they sure got it from Mike Conley and Marc Gasol. Those two guys really upped their games, and I thought they were the key to Memphis having an excellent season.
I tell you what, you got to love his aggressiveness finishing inside like that.
Well, his leaping ability, Clark, gives him a great advantage.
And that's why they look to get him the ball around the rim. I mean, it feels like it's either a dunk or a foul and a couple of free throws every possession.
Randolph with the ball. Guarded now by Duncan. Outside for Randolph. And it's going to be out of bounds. The Spurs will take it. And some changes here for the Grizzlies. Terrell Arthur, he's checked in for Gasol. Pondexter comes in for Zach Randolph. And Jared Bayless subbed in for Mike Conley. So San Antonio going with an almost entirely new group here. Matt Bonner, he's checked in for Diaw. Splitter comes in for Tim Duncan. Daniel Green, he's checked in for Manu Ginobili. And Gary Neal subbed in for Tony Parker. Green can't convert off the drop step. The Grizzlies trail by 14. Allen passes to Arthur. He hits it from 9. Arthur's got his first basket of the night.
Been a little too easy for them inside, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think so, Steve. I mean, they've really dictated the action in the paint. That's been their focus, and the defense hasn't mounted much resistance at all.
From deep, Neal. Grizzlies with the rebound. Allen's got 4 rebounds now tonight. Got it off in time, and it's good. But hold on, the officials may want to look at that one on the replay monitor. And not so fast. The officials are going to check that shot again and make sure they got it right before we go to the 4th.
And to me, it looks pretty clear on the instant replay, guys. The ball was out of his hands in time. I mean, they need to get this one right. It's a big situation here.
I can't see how they'd come to any other conclusion, Clark. The camera gives us a good look at it. There's a tick or two left on the clock.
And they're going to count it. They're overturning the original call after looking at the replay.
Yeah, good to see.
Well, through 3 quarters of play, down double digits, it may be difficult to overcome. It's the Spurs leading by 10. And we'll be back with you right after this. And thanks again for joining us. Let's see what happens here in the 4th. And now our sideline reporter Doris Burke has a report on our Sprite uncontainable game. Hi, Doris.
Yes, guys, our uncontainable game tonight, Manu Ginobili. Not many players can come off the bench and change a game the way he has done through the first 3 quarters. He's been the definition of a sixth man here.
Great, Doris, thanks. And when you look at that textbook contribution, guys, coming from one of your reserves, he really fit that definition here tonight.
Yeah, he's really been the X factor in this game. You know, to be honest, I don't think they were ready for him defensively. It seemed like they just didn't have a plan on how to guard him.
Well, you know, one of the things about having a guy like him come off the bench is that it gives you a burst. He's a power surge, and he creates immediate matchup problems, especially when he gets hot.
We've got Quincy Pondexter. Arthur out there with Marc Gasol. Then it's Conley, and it's Bayless in at the 2 spot. That's the lineup in the game for Memphis.
Just an unbelievable display of offense here today.
Well, it seems like every shot that goes up finds its way to the hoop. I mean, every player is sharp and on target.
Parker kicks to Splitter. There's the dish to Duncan. And good on the basket. Book it. And the Spurs lead by 11.
Offensively just hammering away in the paint.
And that's 10 straight points inside, too.
Doris Burke has an update for us. Doris?
Hey, Kevin. During that last break, I heard Lionel Hollins as he addressed his team. He was not happy with their play to this point, telling them we're getting out hustled, plain and simple. There's still time, but we've got to dial up our effort. Kevin, we'll see if they have enough to get it done.
And that's exactly what you call a high-percentage hoop there.
Sure is.
The one-handed throwdown. Gotta love it.
Here's Bayless. And another miss by Memphis.
Well, unfortunately, he just has not been able to produce offensively to this point.
And it's blocked. Duncan against Gasol. And Bayless gets to Conley. That's good, and so Bayless with the assist. 16 points for Conley.
Another open look hits bottom from outside.
Yeah, that's 3 of their last 5 makes from beyond the arc.
Here's Parker, and the layup is good.
Something has to change, guys. That's 10 straight points coming in the paint against this team.
Well, they got to collapse in there, and everybody's got to be conscious of it. It's a team effort in protecting the paint. Control the ball, and then everybody's got to get in there and keep the defense locked down.
Time called here. The Spurs decide to talk it over.
Well, last season with the condensed schedule, we saw teams really preserving their star players in the regular season, limiting their minutes. And frankly, I think it's something that should be done every season to save their energy for when it matters most. I think it's a good philosophy.
Just a little under 2.5 minutes have passed now here in the 4th. Feeds to Leonard. They set the pick. He feeds it to Bonner. Spurs passing it around. Shoots. Duncan misses. And going back to what Clark was just talking about, an interesting stat over the last 8 years, there have been almost 100 occasions of players who logged over 3,000 minutes in a season. And get this, none of those players, Steve, none of them went on to win a title.
That's amazing, Kevin. And I think of Greg Popovich and his handling of Tim Duncan the last couple of years, limiting his minutes and allowing him to extend his career. And the Spurs had another terrific season a year ago. So I think it's something that you have to try to do as a coach. It's difficult because you don't want to lose your job, but you've got to be able to try to extend guys' careers and improve the quality of their play by cutting down the minutes.
Parker with the steal. Green kicks to Leonard, and the powerful one-handed slam.
Throwing it down with one hand and making it look easy.
Easy and fun. He just thrives on making the D look silly.
Yeah, which is something he does pretty often, Kevin.
Here is Bayless. And there's the feed to Conley. Shot clock at 6. He passes to Pondexter for the 3. And that one falls coming off Conley's feet.
That's 9 straight points coming off 3 3-pointers. The defense just getting shelled.
Steve, the threes are killing him. I think they've got to find a way to chase him off the three-point line.
Green kicks to Parker. Back to Green. Pass to Parker. Knocks it loose. Here's Bonner. The shot is off. And Memphis the other way now. Outside Conley. Pondexter, guarded by Green. Here's Bayless. It's good! What a beautiful shot to bring him to within 3.
And now the crowd really getting into it.
Listen to that.
It is shaking in here, guys. Absolutely insane.
There's the pick. Parker outside. Shoots a fader. Shoots over Bayless. Shot is blocked. Sinks it. Timeout called the Grizzlies. They're losing by 5. There's 14 seconds left in the fourth. Guys, what do you think?
And this one is far from over. If they can get a quick score here and then a fast foul as well.
I'll tell you what, free throws have become tougher with the game on the line, so a few missed ones here, and they could get right back in it.
8 seconds left in the fourth quarter of this one. And now we've got the intentional foul. So the first one drops, and that increases their lead to 6. So it gets them both, and it's a 7-point game. Timeout called the Grizzlies. They're behind by 7. 7 seconds left to play here in the fourth. 7 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Hins the three.
He looks good, getting it done consistently from deep.
Steve, I know you love the three ball, and he's been sharp, kind of like Steve Kerr used to be.
And so it's San Antonio who scraped by with the win. Well, they don't get much more exciting than that, Clark.
They sure don't. And when it was gut check time, this team kept their composure.